What's going on, beer lovers? Today, me and I are brewing. That's right, today we are brewing a Hazy Double IPA. I'm making another attempt to see if I can get this right. So if you want to see how it turns out, stay tuned.
Episode. I'm Mia.
I'm Jeff, and today is a very special day. What day is it, Mia?
It's October 3rd.
On October 3rd, he asked me what day it was. It's October 3rd.
Yep, that's right. It's October 3rd, and we are doing a Hazy Double IPA brew day. So, before we get started, let's go over the ingredients.
Those are important. Everyone, so our strike water is at 165 and we're ready to do the mash. We have 2 grams of gypsum and 6 grams of calcium chloride, and let's get it going.
Now guys, one important thing to note is I actually doubled up on my oats and my flaked wheat. I want to make this sucker as hazy as possible, but that also means that there's a higher risk of dough balls in the mash. So we're pouring it very slowly, little by little, as we add it, and Mia's just making sure that there's no little dough clumps inside this mash before we do the official mash in. Once we've kind of mixed this up, I'm going to add some lactic acid to make sure that our pH levels are at 5.2. That's our target. So yeah, that's what's up.
I'm doing a great job.
Alright guys, so Mia basically has got the mash in ready to go. Our temperature's sitting at about 151 degrees. I'm not going to start the 60-minute timer for a couple more minutes. We're going to put the top on once this reaches 150. Now, I mentioned in the previous clip that I was going to add some lactic acid. To be honest with you, right now my pH is right where it should be. So I'm not gonna add it yet. However, we have a 3-gallon sparge that's coming up later. So we're still gonna test the pH throughout this process, and if we need to bring it down a little bit, we will. But for right now, it's looking just fine. So we're gonna set our timer for 60 minutes, and we'll see you then.
1 hour later.
All right, guys, so it's been about an hour since we mashed in. Basically, at this point, we are gonna be clarifying our wort. Yes, it's supposed to be a hazy, but we don't want a bunch of grains going into the boil. So this clarification process builds a grain bed inside this mash tun and allows that wort to just come out clear. And by clear, again, just no particles. It's all just the liquid itself. So basically just turn this little nozzle a little bit and slowly fill it into this pot. If you guys take a look inside this pot, you can see a bunch of just little floaties going on. That's what we're trying to get rid of. We just want the liquid. So we're going to recirculate this wort a few times until it starts pouring clear. Once we do that, we are going to empty this into our brew kettle, and then we're going to start heating up our sparge water. Well guys, we did our sparge, and now we brought all the wort to a boil, so that's what you're looking at right now. There wasn't really a hot break, it just went straight into a rolling boil, so I'm happy about that because I didn't have to worry about any of that. Crazy enough, we are not doing any hop additions in the boil. We are just going to start our timer for 60 minutes, and then we're adding everything in whirlpool and dry hop. So we're going to let this go for the next hour, and then it's time to cool it down.
Okay, so we have added the wort chiller. We're gonna cool it down in a second, but before we do that, I'm going to add some Fermax yeast nutrient. It's basically just science. I'm just adding some some crazy science to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and eyeball it, sprinkle it in. You could be more exact than I am, but I'm Italian, so I'm just gonna like do a dash, a pinch, what have you. Seems great to me. We got 15 minutes left in the boil, and then we're gonna head inside, and we'll be inside. So stay with us.
Well guys, our boil is done. We brought the brew kettle into the house, and we're gonna run the cold water through this wort chiller. But the important thing is we still have hop additions to do. We've done none so far, and this is supposed to be a haze boy. So what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna run the wort chiller until the temperature of the wort gets down to 170 degrees. Some people say it's 180, some people say it's 160. I'm gonna do 170. Then we're gonna do what's called a whirlpool phase, where we're actually going to stir the hops in a whirlpool, and that's gonna spread out all those flavors. Because it's a lower temperature, we're not gonna get as much bitterness off of it. We're gonna get more of the flavors and aromas. We're gonna do that whirlpool for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then we're gonna cool this all the way down to pitching temperatures, throw it in a fermenter, and then we move on with the brew process from there. All right, so we got the wort down to 160 degrees. I know I said 170, but oops, left the water on too long. Wort chillers chill really fast, so you gotta watch them close. Anyways, Mia, why don't you hold up what you got in your hands there? That, my friends, is 6 ounces of hops. We have 2 ounces of Citra Lupomax, we have 2 ounces of Sabro, and 2 ounces of Vic Secret. So we're gonna toss that in right now, and then we're gonna do a whirlpool by actually using the wort chiller as our mechanism to make a whirlpool. So go ahead and dump it all in.
Also, this smells like a vacation, just to let you guys know.
It does, it smells amazing.
Just dump it all in.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I've never actually brewed with any Lupomax hops before. So I'm really interested to see how this turns out. But for now, I'm basically just gonna stir my wort chiller around in a circle for the next 20 minutes or so intermittently, because I'm gonna get tired of doing this. So yeah, but like 20 or 30 minutes, and then we're gonna cool it down to pitching temperature.
A few moments later.
So Jeff's wimpy ass arms gave out, so he had to call him the big guns. That's me. So just we're whirlpooling it, and we have 10 minutes left to do this. So I'm just gonna be here for 10 minutes since Jeff's icing his arms right now. It's pretty severe for him, but I'm good. I'm fine with this.
All right guys, so our wort is at pitching temperature. I added a hop sock to my siphon. We're gonna run the siphon into the sanitized fermenter, so let's go. Well, it's time to pitch the yeast. As I mentioned earlier, I'm using this imperial yeast. It is called Juice A38. I've never brewed with this one before, but Scott Windsor at Windsor Homebrew Supplies highly recommended it. He said a lot of the local breweries that are making killer IPAs, they're using this. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and pitch it. Always sanitize. I got a little spray bottle here. Just clear on the top. One nice thing is you don't need a starter for this one, because it's got over 200 billion cells, and it's got a little rip top. Shazam! You're gonna pour that right in, and then just squeeze it out. Squeeze out all the good stuff. I always try to make sure I get as much of the yeast as possible, because more yeast, more tasty flavors, and more efficient fermentation I usually have. So I was a little apprehensive about not using a yeast starter, but I trust my homebrew supply guy. He knows what he's doing, so I trust him. Okay, I would say I squeezed just about everything out of there. So now we just gotta put the cap on. Just gonna sanitize this one more time. Throw it on top. Always make sure your lids are completely sealed. I like double, triple, quadruple check every time because you don't want anything getting in. Okay, we're good there. Now it's airlock time. Let's pop your airlock on. I got a bowl of sanitized Star San water basically right next to this fermenter. You can't see it, but that's what this stuff has been sitting in. And voila, we're done. So you guys will see me in a couple more days. Once fermentation's kicked off, we have another hop edition at High Krausen. See you there.
2 days later.
Hey, welcome back guys. It's been 2 days since brew day, and that means it's time to dry hop. Now the beer is fermenting away in the fermentation bucket. The airlock is going off like crazy. I'm pretty sure we're at High Krausen at this point, and that's why I'm going to add some more hops. Now I sanitized this bag here. I also added some sanitized marbles to it to weigh the hops down. Even though this is 6 ounces of hops, it tends to want to float along the surface of the beer. So those marbles are going to help weigh it down just a little bit, and that's to make sure, you know, all the beer can actually touch this and we extract as much flavor as possible. Now you may be asking, why am I adding dry hops 2 days into fermentation instead of way later? Well, I've talked to a lot of my brewer friends, and they've told me that during High Krausen, if I'm trying to avoid oxidation, that is the best time to dry hop. The reason being is the yeast is super active, it's fermenting away, which means the top of my fermenter is just filled with CO2. There's probably absolutely zero oxygen in there, which means that me opening it up real quick to add this hop bag isn't going to be too big of a deal. If I were to wait another 10 days or so to add a dry hop, fermentation's long done by then, and that means that as soon as I open that fermenter, I'm introducing oxygen to this beer. So we don't want to do that this time around. I'm trying to get that primo color by the end of the brew process. So anyways, I'm not going to show you this part, but basically this is 6 ounces of hops, 2 ounces of Lupomax Citra, 2 ounces of Sabro, and 2 ounces of Vic's Secret. I'm just going to open up the top of the fermenter and drop it right in. Now, this has been sitting here a couple minutes in like a sanitized bowl, and I can already smell how good these hops are. I'm really excited to open up this fermenter and get a whiff of what's going on inside. And as for you guys, you won't see me again until kegging day.
Several days later.
Hey, welcome back beer lovers. It's been 2 weeks since brew day, and it's finally time to keg our beer. So today we're trying something new, something I haven't quite done before. I made a very bad attempt at doing it in the past, but this time I think I got it right. It's called a closed loop transfer, and the idea is I'm actually going to use my CO2 tank to push the beer out of my fermenter and into my keg without it having to touch any oxygen. The goal is to minimize oxygen exposure to my beer to maintain that beautiful yellow straw hue that we all know and love in our hazy IPAs. So I'm going to give you a look at what the system kind of looks like, and then we're just going to get started and keg this bad boy. So wish me luck. Well guys, as a first attempt, that closed loop transfer actually worked pretty well. I didn't really have any major hiccups, just had to make some minor adjustments here or there. Provided that this homebrew comes out the way I want it to, and you're curious on how I did this closed loop transfer, let me know in the comments below, and the next time I brew a hazy, I'll do a little tutorial on how I did this. So anyways, I'm gonna let this beer sit in the keg for about 10 days on low PSI pressure, and by the time I get back from my trip, it should be ready. So we'll see you then.
Several days later.
All right, everyone, welcome back. It has been a week since I moved my beer into the keg, and now it's the moment of truth. How did it turn out? Let's find out. guys, we finally poured the beer, and now we have the results.
Oh, bam!
We did it! We did it! We made a hazy beer, super hazy, and it's not discolored. And, yeah, and it's beer.
Oh my god. It's been an ongoing joke that every time you try to make a clear beer, it comes out hazy, and every time you make a hazy beer, it comes out like a clear beer. He finally went to like the extreme, and this is like you colored in the beer with like a marker of beer colored.
It's physically impossible to see through this beer. Like,
Yep.
even if you shined a flashlight through it, yeah, you're not seeing what's on the other end. We
Oh man.
finally did it. So,
Yeah.
a couple things before we drink it. The things that were successful this time around, the things that I think paid off and made this beer what it is one, yeast strain. I use Imperial Juice yeast. That was one that was recommended to me by my local homebrew supply shop, Windsor. So thank you, Scott. Recommendation worked, killer. I also doubled up on my wheat and oats in the recipe from everything else I made,
Okay.
which apparently also aided in making it super hazy murky. And then to avoid the discoloration, I did a closed loop transfer, which if you rewind back and missed it, you can see how that was done. But basically I pumped CO2 into the fermenter from the top to avoid any oxidation, and it pushed the beer into the keg without it touching any oxygen. So anyways, I'm excited just to remind Jacob of the hop bill in here, because he didn't help brew this one. This was me and Mia. The hop bill is Lupomax Citra, which is a new way that hops are being made. Basically, you just get more use out of your hops.
Right. Yeah.
Sabro hops and Vic Secret. So
Okay, cool.
Anyways,
Very trendy.
yeah, well, you know. All right, let's go in for the aroma. So for me, I just get nectarine, tangerine, and apricots off
Yeah,
this.
it's very stone fruity. It doesn't like punch me in the face. I have to dig a little bit. My glass is filled too much for me to really see.
Yeah, I will say that when I did pour some beer off camera, and I did the old just straight up like you would do with cans back in the day, where you just hang it straight upside down. And I definitely got more head. With the head came a lot more aroma.
Fair. Yeah.
So I will give you that.
I was gonna say, this reminds me of like when hazy IPAs first became a thing, especially on Instagram. Everyone was pouring them straight to the top of the glass. There was never any head, and you could not see through it at all. This is like that first wave of hazy boys.
All right, so the moment I've been waiting for. Let's dig in.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
Whoa.
Mm.
Well, there's the overripe fruit. Mouthfeel's good. You nailed the mouthfeel quite well.
Thank
It's
you.
not quite as fluffy as like maybe a Monkish or like some of the Great Notion.
Yeah.
But it's right in that range of like good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of overripe fruit.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit of that dry hop.
The little burn on the back end.
Yeah, it's way on the back.
Just a scotch.
It does have a little bit of that, but I would say this is definitely like you're zeroing in on the target. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a stupid amount of overripe fruit though.
I mean, my initial thought when I first tried this was, holy shit, this is a juice bomb. And I didn't even necessarily intend to make it a juice bomb. It just ended up that way.
Okay.
And I'm really happy with it. And mind you, guess what the ABV is on this?
Oh, yeah, what? I don't know.
This is 8.3%.
Ooh.
This is a Hazy DIPA.
You know, I don't... Other than the fact that it can tell you used a lot of hops in the dry hop, I don't know if I'd immediately say this was a double IPA.
It feels to me like a 7%er.
Yeah, like definitely
Like
IPA.
a real fresh 7% beer.
I think the only thing that I want to see from this again would be maybe dial back the dry hop a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. What I did is I did no bittering additions at all.
Dang, wow, so this is all dry hop.
No, so I did a Whirlpool edition.
Okay.
Which I believe I did 6 ounces in Whirlpool, 6 ounces in dry hop.
Okay.
So one of the things is with Lupomax, they say that you only need to use about 70% to get 100% usage in comparison to like normal hops. And I just went ahead and used 100% of what I was going to use. So I think what I'll do next time is, maybe I will dial it back just a scotch.
Maybe they weren't lying.
Yeah, but damn, I don't know. I'm still not too mad at it.
Oh no, this is definitely something to be proud of. I have tasted beers from actual breweries that canned them that taste right on par with this, and people were absolutely losing their shit over it. So if you've done that on accident,
well, I wouldn't say it's on accident.
Not an accident. But I mean, I would say the next step is repeat the process.
Yeah.
And like get it again, and like that's.
Thanks, man.
I mean, I don't know what else to say other than like, some people are getting paid to do this and they can't. Sorry.
Well, all I gotta say is I finally freaking did it, man. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well earned.
Well, guys, there you have it. Practice makes perfect. If at first you don't succeed, try again. This is a testament to that. I've worked my ass off to get to this spot, and here we are. Finally did it, and now it's just good times ahead. If you guys have any questions, by the way, feel free to ask. I'm happy to help. Now that I actually know what I'm doing, I might actually be able to help you guys a little bit more. So please feel free to leave any questions in the comments below. I will answer them. So with that being said, that is your grain to glass tutorial on my Hazy Foggy double IPA. So if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share with your friends. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It helps us in the rankings and also encourages us to make more episodes just like this one. So if you want more homebrew episodes, help us out.
Yeah. Also, I got a narwhal tattoo, and if you would like to name him, also drop a comment.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't know what this boy's name is.
Narwhal McNarwhal Face is my vote.
Let me know what you think.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, I'm Jeff.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you again on Let's Have Some Beer. Cheers. What's going on, beer lovers? Welcome to another episode. I'm Jeff.
I'm Mia.
And today's a very special day because we are in Portland, Oregon, and we're working in 4K. That's right, guys. We are bringing you 4K for our episodes now.